Welcome to Connect with Carla B. Today I want to introduce you to someone who I view as a community friend, a partner in the community because of the work that he is doing and the dedication that he has shown for our community. His name is Ron Dock. I'd like to start by asking Ron, explain to our guests how you like to introduce yourself.
First of all, thanks for having me, Carla. Simply as Doc. Everybody call me Doc, and the community knows me as Doc.
Okay.
And
but who is Doc?
Doc is a certified addictions counselor.
Okay.
Recovery coach.
Yes.
Interventionist and a certified addictions counselor.
Okay.
And I'm also a recovering addict. Going on 30 years of sobriety.
That's a lot. You're also a husband.
Yeah, husband.
You're a father. Yes. Because we know.
And a fisherman.
And a fisherman.
Yeah,
See, there it is. Yeah. How often do you fish, Doc?
Right now, because I pulled my schedule all the way back, it's called retired.
Oh,
yeah,
we want that. We want that. Retirement.
Listen, it was well earned a long time.
While you can enjoy it.
I fish approximately 3 to 4 days a week.
Wow.
From 6:30 in the morning to 11. I went fishing this morning, by the way.
And tell us about your celebrity daughter. I have to do it.
Carla's trying to take my daughter. That's my only child, by the way, and she's a handful. She's a stand-up comedian. And she invited me to one of her shows, and my mouth dropped because I went into shock because I didn't know.
Give her a shout out. Tell everybody.
Yeah, Alicia, we give you a shout out. You know, keep it going, keep the grind going.
What's her show name?
Alicia Dock.
Okay, right. I thought they call her Brooklyn or New York. They call her New York.
My girl NY, but I told her to cut that back and go real.
Okay.
So since she went real, she's been doing pretty good. She did a couple opening acts at the Improv in Tampa.
Okay,
so
nice. I was just there a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So Doc, tell us if you remember how you and I first connected.
Yeah, won't forget it because it was an emotional time. I just opened up a recovery center on 9th Street South through Mount Zion. Gave me a building which is called the Care Building. And I was there with Daryl Roussan, and we were getting ready to start a meeting, and that's when you came in with this young man.
Believe it or not, it was before that. Oh man, look at my memory kicking in.
Yeah.
So,
you
know what? Because you might only know that part. So the part was, it was a young man that worked for me that finally caved in and begged for help.
Right.
And so then I called Senator Roussan. Because I said, I can offer the nurturing, but I can't offer, this is not what I know. Let me call somebody who can help you. And so he said, come to my office right now. Mm-hmm. And then he said, I thought he called you to the office too.
No.
Okay.
First time was at the building.
Okay. So then he said, because I thought I remember you saying to this young man, like, you're going to have to keep it 100.
Well,
you can play games with her.
Your brain that just you
okay,
went back.
So my memory is bad.
Memory relapse. That's what it's called.
Got it.
Anyway, the first time I met you, you brought the kid to the building, and he stayed outside. He came in, and I did an assessment on him right away.
Okay.
Now, the time you're talking about was in your office doing your canvassing and campaigning.
Okay.
I met you guys at your office.
Okay, got it.
And that's when I told him he's going to have to, save up.
Okay, got it. Oh man. I told y'all, I don't remember what my kids weighed at birth. I don't know how I get so much done because I compartmentalize everything. So, and then how did that work out? Do you remember?
Yes, I worked with the kid about 2 months, and he couldn't grab hold. And I know for a fact he emotionally and spiritually relapsed. And we're listening to his parents. He's really struggling. And he was homeless again because when you had him, he was homeless.
Yep.
Well, he went back that way up in Clearwater, and that was the last I heard from him because I reached out to him a couple of times.
He's reached out to me.
When was the last time you heard from him, Max?
A couple of months ago. He wanted to let me know he was doing well.
He's alive.
He's alive and well, doing well. But I am so grateful because since that first connection, I have picked up the phone and called you multiple times for people because that's like giving them the absolute best opportunity for survival because what you've done is pick up the phone, you have the connections and relationships, and you're able to say, hey, if you are serious, I can get you in a facility. Remember the time with the homeless lady that's outside of Enoch?
Yes.
And I called you, and
yes.
you actually paid for her to have housing,
I
hotel.
wanted to, but she didn't want it.
She didn't. That's right.
It. Yeah, come on, your memory. Come on, Carla. Take a deep breath. It's all right. Listen, let me say something about Carla. And after meeting her with this gentleman, I realized she likes taking hostages. And let me say that it's in a positive way, because right after that, she had me doing something that wasn't on my radar. She, in her Carla way, convinced me to do some canvassing with her. Like I said, I wasn't into politics. I'm like, canvassing what? I thought, a painting on a canvas. She said, no, some footwork in the community. And I was resistant, but like I said, she took me hostage with her words and her emotions. And I said, let me just go ahead and do this to get her off my back.
Right.
But lo and behold, it got deeper. And I walked the streets of St. Pete. I knocked on doors, and guess what, family? I realized I loved it. And I had a purpose, and I really got a kick out of doing that.
Yeah, and I think as a result, you're still politically always tapping in.
Right,
hey,
and by the way, she even tried to slip me into a low-level political platform, and I said, heck no, I'm not there. I don't want to go there. But that's what I'm saying. If she can take you hostage, she will. I've seen her do it. She's good at it, too. Yeah, she's good at it, too.
So we need to keep tapping people in our community for the various things and the various needs that we have. And so who better than someone that has lived experience? Tell us a little bit. What I know about you is you've worked with the Yankees almost exclusively. How did that start? And then tell us a little bit about your journey.
Good question. Yes, I worked with the Yankees for 17 years, and I was at a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, and a ball player came in by the name of Dwight Gooden. I say his name because he's from the community, and he requested help from me. And at first, I turned him down because I wasn't used to being around a high-profile individual, and it made me very uncomfortable. But after talking to my inner circle, they said he needs help just like the rest of us, so you need to go back in there, Doc, which I did. And he took me to the Yankee complex, and the owner of the New York Yankees, George Steinbrenner, was introduced to me, and he hired me to become a recovery coach to Dwight Gooden. And then it springboarded into Darryl Strawberry and various other staff members and players, and that lasted 17 years.
Wow.
Yes.
17 years. And then you mentioned 30 years. And I know they say this journey starts with one step. What was it like for you before and how did you come to the point of deciding, I better take this step. This is my opportunity to just be out of that addiction. And is there even such a thing as out?
Well, good question, Carla. You're never out of addiction. That's an ongoing process, because once you let your guard down, it can repeat itself. So how I, put distance between my last drink and drug is what I did in the past, for the past 30 years. And I got addicted when I was 17. It started with a joint. Then I graduated to a beer, then alcohol, cocaine, and the rest is history. And my journey wasn't pretty. I was homeless for 3.5 years. I ate out of garbage cans from New York City to Richmond, Virginia, here to St. Pete. Matter of fact, I lived in the park, Williams Park, for 6 months on the benches. Yes, that was me. So every time I go by Williams Park and I see me, I go in there to address me to let them know that they don't have to live like that no more.
And then you're a veteran, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
So here's this veteran that, how old were you when you joined the military?
I was 17 years old when I went in the Marine Corps.
Oh, a Marine.
Yeah,
we better.
Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Unless you're going to sing your halls of Montezuma, don't play with me.
This is a whole new level. So we have to learn to treat Mr. Ron Doc with a little bit more. We got to put a little bit of R on his name. Marine. That's serious. So if you are you started the addiction at 17 or you got introduced. So meaning that period of time while you're in the military and you're away from family and you're away from friends, it just continues to deepen?
Yes, and back then, being 17 years old, you want to be a part of, so you see the other Marines, they're going out to what they call the EM clubs, and they're drinking, and you want to be a part of. And I didn't realize I had an addictive personality. And by the way, Carla, I don't know if you noticed, I'm a triplet. My mother had 3 boys at the same time, and I'm one of them.
You know what's so funny is you told me that, you sent me a photograph of it, and then I promise you, I saw that photograph on Instagram or something else, and I'm like, this is all a joke. He's playing games. So tell everybody what it's like to be connected to 2 other people in such a unique way. And where are your brothers today?
Okay, Carla, yes, real profound connection. Let me just start off with that because we do feel each other. When I was in the Marine Corps, one of my triplets at 19 years old OD'd in my mother's bathroom and died. The other one, approximately 10 years ago, in Delaware, he couldn't stop drinking, so he hung himself. So both of them passed away. And I have a younger brother who was on dialysis. And the doctor told him to stop drinking and smoking weed or he couldn't get a kidney. And he said no, and he died. So the only one that's left is my sister and I, And I'm blessed because my mother, we put our mother through it. But she was blessed to see me go through my recovery. And she died at 95 years old. And she had a chance to see me recover. She went to meetings with me. She was very, very proud of me. She used to run around the streets in New York City in the Bronx. Yeah, that's my son. He works for the Yankees. He came down here to Florida. She used to go to NA meetings with me. Everyone knew her and loved her. Called Mama May. She was a great woman.
What's the biggest challenge for staying sober? What is the biggest challenge? And also, what is the biggest inspiration for doing it?
Good question, Carla. The biggest challenge for people who's trying to get clean and sober is people, places, and things. The neighborhood, their surroundings, peer pressure. Those are for people that's just coming around. That's the hardest thing. To surround yourself with other people that's not getting high is one way you can do this. Going to meetings, positive people. Hey, I've been having a ball dancing. By the way, when I first got sober and trying to dance sober, I didn't know how to do that. So I had 2 left feet and I was kind of awkward. But I've been having a lot of fun since I've been sober. But there is a life after drinking and drugging. And because I drink and drug, it had nothing to do with the alcohol and drugs. It had everything to do with me. I didn't like me. My self-esteem was in the ground. I had a lot of deeper issues that was going on, and the only way I could deal with it is by self-medicating.
So, especially given COVID, given this time we're in where people are so isolated, and maybe they're insulating themselves with some of these very same items, what type of advice, information can you give to folks? And then I don't know if you shared what motivates you to ensure that that's never you again.
Good question, Marla. The first part of that question is I'm having a Carla moment. I just forgot.
That's what they gotta find now, the Carla moment?
Yeah, that's right, a Carla moment. What motivates me is giving back. I honestly believe my higher power, who I choose to call God, I said, why did you pick me to stay clean? He said, I have one job for you to do, one job only, and that's to carry the message to the addict who still suffers. That's it. So that's what motivates me. When I get a call from you, call and say, hey, I got a young man or a young woman, a parent, a grandparent whose loved ones is addicted. Can you help them?
Yes.
And I never say I can't do it. I do it immediately.
Yeah,
because this
you come running.
Yes, because this is what I've been anointed to do. Nothing else. So to carry the message that's to someone that's up. But I'm going to get that second part of the question because it came back to me, which was a good one. Because of COVID, there is a high epidemic of abuse because everybody was locked down for 2 years. Depression set in, loneliness set in. People couldn't communicate with each other or tangibly touch people without Zoom, I'm talking about.
Right.
So, so addiction really kicked in. And another thing, out here today, they have a dangerous drug, fentanyl.
Oh
It
yeah.
is killing young people, old people. It's killing people left and right. So the drugs today is not even worth it because everything's tainted with fentanyl, from marijuana to
Wow.
cocaine to heroin, all of it. Pills. I had a young man two months ago took OxyContin and it was laced with fentanyl. He died.
Wow. What is fentanyl?
It comes in from China across the Mexican border. I'm not saying that the border patrols are not doing their job, but I think they need to zero in on China a little bit more. But it's coming in from overseas, and it's a synthetic drug that's supposed to enhance their euphoric feeling of getting high.
Are you seeing a lot of folks in the Black community impacted by this?
Yes, for the first time in maybe 2 years. Absolutely. Because it was the gated fence community at first. But now it is in the underprivileged community. Yeah.
And how would we know if we're living with an addict? How would we know? Because I know there's so many forms of addiction. And oftentimes it is the person closest that's supporting a habit that they're not even aware of.
Absolutely. And you said the magic word, not aware of. You have to be aware of your loved ones. Ask them the questions, see how they dress, if they're tardy. Look in their eyes to see if they're dilated. I give people hugs sometimes just to smell them. You can smell the alcohol. The alcohol is a trigger, by the way. That's one of the things. Tardiness, not doing their homework, missing work. Making excuses for work, Carla. Hey, I'm not going to work today because I got a headache. Then you become the enabler. That's why you have the blind eye.
So are they abusive physically, or is it primarily to themselves?
Both. They can be, especially with the alcohol. But for opiates, it's a suppressant. Marijuana, you ain't doing nothing.
Right.
But alcohol you can get abuse going. Both physical and mental.
And then is there like drastic weight loss? Because the people I'm seeing that supposedly addicted to fentanyl, they just seem like zombies walking, and then you see them fall out in the middle of the street or the sidewalks all over.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I got a car full of Narcan for that purpose.
And you gave me some.
Yeah, I gave you some. As a matter of fact, I've been giving it to the whole community. I've been out on the streets of 18th Avenue. Every gas station on 18th.
Oh, wow.
I went into every store on 18th, 22nd, all the hole in the wall store, all the addicts hanging around. I gave them all fentanyl. Narcan.
What are the resources? Because everybody is not a Carla Bristol that has that direct connection to a Ron Doc that will pick up the phone, that will get in his car and come. What are some of the resources that's available if you're living, I could say St. Pete, I could say Pinellas. Like, what are some resources that people should know about?
One of the resources, especially in our community, that I refer who's struggling with addiction and trying to turn it around, is the Turning Point.
Okay.
Which is on 5th Avenue North and 20th Street.
Yep.
Right. You can look in Google them and you'll get the telephone number.
Okay.
I don't have it offhand, but that's my main resource.
So Turning Point.
Turning Point. You have West Care. You have Operation Power on 66th Avenue.
And so for those people, so if someone is listening and they feel ready, but they don't want to make that phone call, what would you say to them? What would you tell them to potentially motivate them to take the first step?
I think I can tell them that you have 3 options: jails, institutions, and death. If you don't want those 3, there is hope out there. You can go 1-800-HELP.
Oh, wow.
Yes, there's a lot of hotlines. You can go to Narcotics Anonymous website, Alcoholics Anonymous website.
Oh, wow.
You can go to your clergy, your imams, whatever religion you are honoring, and they have resources there, believe it or not.
Wow. I want to say thank you.
You're more than welcome, Carla.
I want to say thank you for sitting down with me, for being vulnerable to share about your own journey and to providing information to help others who may be struggling. And for all you've done and continue to do for this community that we get to be a part of. Thank you for connecting with me. Remember, guys, connections are important for our evolution. Go ahead. Doc
Yes, I'd
wants
like to
say
give one
thing.
shout out
Yes.
to Bryce Lewis.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
one of the gentlemen I've worked with through the help of Carla. Carla introduced me to him, and together we really got him turned around before he got into his fatal car accident. But a much shout out to him because I think about him a lot.
And it's important to note that Bryce did not struggle with any addiction.
Right.
Ron Doc became a mentor for Bryce because he had a momentary lapse in judgment around conduct. So thank you for raising his name. You know what they say, when we call their names, when we make them present. So he's a young man that was full of joy, full of life, full of promise. And in my humble opinion, gone too soon.
Right.
So thanks for listening. Remember, connections are important, and connections is not just a hi and bye. It's developing meaningful relationships with people so that when people like me pick up the phone and call, they say, how can I help? I'm there. So I'll just continue to sharing these connections with you and hope that you get bits and bites to chew on. Until next time.